The side hustle allowed me to retire my wife. It allowed me to be happy as hell that I got laid off, which is the weirdest thing to say in the world, right? And it's also allowed me to have something outside of money.
I'm here with Lenny the Boss, notable real estate investor and influencer. How are you today, Lenny?
Man, I am feeling brilliant. I am feeling inspired. How are you?
I am, every day I wake up, I get out of bed is a great day. So you just have to take those small wins and build from there. So I'm so excited when
Wow.
I looked at my calendar and saw you were a guest today. I was like, yes, I was really excited to get this interview because I know you do a lot in real estate. And that is, one of the great wealth builders. So I think entrepreneurs all need to have a good mix of real estate, but there's so much information out there. It kind of makes it overwhelming to get started. How did you get started?
Man. Well, first and foremost, let me just say, Sabrina, thank you so much for inviting me here because I know you have a very cool following and audience, and one of the things I just appreciate is when someone has a platform that's golden, that's honest, that are getting real authentic people on it, and expressing themselves and helping the people, and that's what you're doing. So I want to just say thank you for bringing me into your tribe, and that good stuff. But listen, man, real estate's pretty interesting, right? Like, so, you know, um, man, I grew up in the inner city. My large family, 9 brothers and sisters, right? And I'm the baby boy. So my mother had 10 kids living in North Philadelphia, three bedroom home with one bathroom. I don't know how in the world we survived, but we did. So I'm here living proof to let you know that we did. But growing up in North Philadelphia, man, obviously around, nothing but negativity and violence, I just didn't want that, right? So went to college, got a job and worked my way up, to vice president of operations at the job, and the job was great, man. I'm the company man. I'm there every single day, every single morning, doing my thing. And as time go on, you get a little mature, and you start to realize that, well, what are other things out there that can better, your life, your family life, and real estate was that. So I don't know. This journey probably was started about maybe 10 years ago, somewhere around that time, and I never forget, man. I had a couple buddies, where they were in real estate, but they always told me the negative end of this. They never told me the positive end of this thing because I was the one that come and say, hey, anytime they had, some issues and some problems, I was like their, I guess, relief or however you say that, so they was dumping on me in that way until I saw one of my buddies, he just kept buying properties. And I'm like, you complain to me every single day, right? But you continue to buy these properties. And I'm like, he said, well, you're right. He said, that's the reason why I'm driving the car I'm driving. He was, I don't know, driving a nice car at the time. I can't remember. He said, that's the reason why we go on these multiple trips. And I'm like, okay, finally, someone let me in, right? And that's when the journey started, man. I decided to, buy some books, of course. I had a mentor, I don't know, at the time, he probably had like 80 properties at the time. Um, and I bought some programs, I read some books, did everything that you were supposed to do. And one of the things my mentor told me, which was super impressive, and I'll never forget, is I never forget, we went to this black tie affair, and we was at like this place called the Mansion, and it was like nothing but like a really gorgeous bar room, right? And you might be familiar with
Is
the
that in
Mansion. So,
Belmont?
Voorhees,
Oh, in
yeah, Voorhees,
Jersey. Oh, okay.
New Jersey, yeah. Yeah, they got mansions everywhere, right? So,
Well, I thought there was
so
a banquet hall called the Mansion in Philly. I was trying to picture it.
I'm pretty sure that it is. I'm pretty sure that it is. So we're there, and he said he talks like this, Lenny, and I'm like, that's all he's talking about. Right? Look around. So we got like some cocktails in our hand, right? I'm looking around. He says, look around. And I'm like, okay. He kind of like taller than me, right? So I'm looking up and like looking at him. You know what I mean? He's like, and he's older, like an older man. He's like, always remember this. Regardless of what a place looks like, it can always look like this. And I'm looking around. At first, I'm like, what's this old man talking about, right? Like he always just talking. But I said he's right. Regardless to what the place looked like, you can always transform the place to look as gorgeous and as nice as you want. And that was just the smallest thing changed my whole mindset. And that's when, I had to go out and buy that ugly property, right? So, I went out, purchased my first property. I don't know, I looked at 50 properties beforehand and purchased it. It was ugly, had no bathroom in it, no flooring. The roof was shot. It had the blue tarp thing over
Right.
top of it. No kitchen. So, but I still own that property to today. And, we went in and obviously we did everything we needed to do to fix it up. And that puppy been renting ever since. Never took a loss on that property,
Really?
even during times when issues occurred, right? Because I purchased right, and the cash flow has been magnificent. It also opened my wife up to, because at first she was like, come on, this real estate thing taking up all your time.
Right.
I'm working full time. The vice president of operations at this company where I'm managing over 200 people, right? So I'm working this time. Then after work, I'm going to the property, checking up on my workers. Also, I'm putting in some work as well, staying out to 2, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
And she like, yeah, like what? Come on, like But when we rented the property, right? That's when she really saw the value because the income started to come in, and she understood the power of real estate at that time because she was on the brink. So I'm pretty sure you're gonna have some your listeners, you're going to probably have a wife or a husband who just don't see the plan. And one of the things I tell them is stick in there because sometimes they can't see your vision. So you have to actually paint the picture, finish the painting, and then that's when they're able to jump on board, right? And that's what it was for me. And obviously from there, some powerful things occurred. And if you don't mind, I can share. Um, so as my journey, I'm working full time, I'm buying this real estate and I'm spending the money. I'm telling you, Sabrina, the money was coming in and I'm spending it. I'm taking vacations here. We eating that Del Frisco's. We're, we're here. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Out.
It was the wrong thing to do, but I'm telling you, we are out. It was crazy because it seemed like everything I spent got just the next month the money was there again.
Right.
Because you got it was crazy. So when I got smart, like I said, I gotta stop spending this money. I gotta now grow the money, right?
Right.
To spend the money. But I start buying, more properties. And so we're buying properties, and got to a point where my wife was making good money. She got a new job. She reported to the president of the company and she hated it. I'm talking about hate, 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 hate. Now, Sabrina, you know me. Ever since you met me, I'm smiling, I'm laughing,
Yeah.
I'm hugging. I run a happy household up here. She was coming home miserable. And I hope your guests don't hammer me down on this, but I was being an a-hole, right? Because I was like, oh, babe, hang in there. We saving this money. We got to buy these for real estate. And then I knew at that time, God is telling me to wake up, right? And I would never forget, I came down in my office, I'm in here now, and I started looking at the portfolio and seeing how we're performing. And I just started looking over our finances and stuff. And I said, wow, God is great. I said, because he put us in position, right? Where I swear we were bringing in a little more than what she was making a year from just the side hustle, right?
Right.
And so I went upstairs. I said, you know what?
Right.
Put your 2 weeks in. She looked at me. I said, we're going to be fine. Our son's not going to miss a beat. Our bill's not going to miss a beat. And most importantly, you're going to be happy. And then we can make up your mind to say, hey, what do you want to do with your life? So that's the one thing that, there's three things I'm super proud of. That's the one thing I'm proud of. So retired my wife, right? She put in her, I think she had to put in 3 weeks or a month or something because of her position. But I retired my wife, right? Where now, she was able to find, another business to open up, which that hit the ground and we're building that up and it's looking good. We still on kind of just getting off the ground level. You know what that's like, Sabrina. And so now that's two entrepreneurs, right? The second thing I'm proud about is I worked for this company, Sabrina, for over 22 years. Okay. It's a long time. And like I said, I'm a company guy. I got the emails coming to my phone. I got people texting me, calling me. I'm on vacation. I'm working. I got the laptop. I'm one of them, right?
Right.
And
no boundaries.
What happened was they laid me off after 22 years. Well, guess what? My COO called me in the morning. I'll never forget. This was probably about, I don't know, a couple months ago. And I knew what it was, and she said, this is recent. Yeah, very recent.
Oh, this was recent.
So she said, sorry, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, okay, no problem, whatever. And I got off the phone. You know what I said to myself? You would never guess. I said, and I'm sorry for the language, but this is what I said. I said, shit, I got to file health insurance. That was the only worry I had. That was it. I went upstairs to my wife, smiling, and she like, "What's up?" I'm like, "Hey, I just got laid off," and she's like devastated. Oh my god! And she's like, "Why are you smiling?" I said, "Babe, we got like I don't know 7, 8, 9 mortgages, and all of them going to get paid. What is there to be mad about? Right. What? Like all our bills going to get paid." Our vacation coming up, we're still going, right? We got money coming in from our side. We created a side hustle that now is full-time hustle, I guess is what you say, right?
Now you can replace your income, not just one income, but two incomes.
And, we got kids. Sabrina, you got kids. I'm pretty sure the whole audience out here got kids. We always want to show them the right thing, right? And now my son gets to see two entrepreneurs. Well, the third thing that I was always proud about is I always say to myself, what am I going to give my son? Like what when I leave this earth, like what can I say I gave him, right? Where he can take it and digest. When I got into real estate and I learned it and learning it because it's an ever growing thing, learning how to negotiate, but you know about that, right? Learning how to talk to attorneys, learning how to read P&Ls, learning how to, determine if this is a good property or that's a good property, market research, all that good stuff. I said, well, that is what I was able to package, and also being an entrepreneur, package that up and not just show my son, as in him just seeing it every single day, but also actually giving it to him. Right. And now what's super powerful, and God is great, is that my wife is an entrepreneur now. So, kids, right? Sometimes they come into you, Sabrina. Sometimes they go into dad, right? But now he gets, best of both worlds, right? He could come to me. He could come to his mother to sit here on, because education is the best thing that you can give to anyone. But in reference, I'm saying to my kid, and on top of education, obviously we have the real estate that's going to back it up that he's going to inherit. You know what I mean? And right now, like, he got enough money in his bank account. Like right now, I'm looking for a property. He got enough money in his bank account for a down payment, right? Where he's about to he's 9. All right, he's 9. We're working on getting him a short-term rental right now. You know what I'm saying? So because we was putting money to the side, for him, I looked up like, holy smokes, dude, you got more money than half of my damn friends. You know what I mean? I'm like, cool. You got to you got to now get this money to work for you, right? Like, so yeah, so those are three things that
Absolutely.
I'm super proud of. Once again, the side hustle allowed me to retire my wife. It allowed me to be happy as hell that I got laid off, which is the weirdest thing to say in the world, right? And it's also
Right.
allowed me to have something outside of money to give to my son, where whatever he decides to do in the future, these things are all foundational things. You know how it works, Sabrina. All these things are all foundational things that he can take forever.
Yeah. Those are some just some amazing lessons, and why I was kind of led to kind of show people the other side of entrepreneurship, that you don't have to quit your job, and nor should you. If you have a good paying job, I'm not one of those quit your job and go on all in your business. You should be building it up so that you can replace your income when the time is right. Or should you not have made that choice to fire your boss, should your boss fire you, you're not scrambling and trying to take all this additional risk to make sure you're okay. You just kind of easily transition out. So that is a really good story that sheds so much light. And I really like what you said about creating the legacy for your kids is not just about what you give them, but on the lessons and education you impart. Because how many stories do we see where the next generation inherits
Mm-hmm.
incredible amounts of wealth and it's gone? And that is because you cannot just leave
Mm-hmm.
children with monetary things without the knowledge to sustain it. They call that the difference between the Rockefellers and the Vanderbilts. The
Boom.
Rockefellers, that money's still circulating, and the Vanderbilts, I think it lasted 2 to 3 generations, and it was, then they're selling off assets. They're selling off all these amazing properties. So that was really, really amazing. So you do short-term rentals and long-term rentals.
Yeah. So
What led you to that mix?
yeah. So no problem. So obviously, I started out long term rentals, and I love my long term rentals. My long term rentals has been great to me. Um, Obviously, I always say real estate comes in waves. That's why it's very important for you to get in. They say, what's the right time to get in? The right time to get in is now, because when that wave comes, you want to capitalize, right? We just went
Right.
through this big boom of appreciation, and you was able to refinance properties and pull money out, and I mean, doing so many fantastic things I could talk to you for hours and hours and hours about. But honestly, you should always look to diversify. But what I like to do, and like to tell my students, is we lock down on one thing first, right? And you lock down one thing, you grow that, and then you add something else to the mix. Grow that, add something else to the mix, right? Because you always want to be dialed in. But yeah, so I started out with long-term rentals, which I love because it's a consistent income that happens to come in. It's very predictable, right? Because obviously you sign, 12-month leases, and you know what's coming in month to month to month to month to month. And before I go on, I just want to touch on one thing that you mentioned about the job. I use my job for this. You know, I use
Right.
having a W-2 job. The banks love you. So I was able to leverage the
Right.
bank for it. And then I was able to receive the income from my job and actually use that to fund, my real estate. So it's very important that you use what you got today, right, to get
Right.
going, get your side hustle going, right? I use, like I said, my credit, my employment, being a W 2, and the money that I was making at the job. So obviously I bought some long term rentals. And then Sabrina, actually I met you right out in California, right? We was at the
Oh yeah.
multifamily, event. And I met a couple other people, and we pivoted a little bit. And that's when we pivoted to short term rentals. I really wasn't interested in them, until a couple of my buddies, got into them, and they started to give me some of the things that was going on. So we purchased some short term rentals. We purchased some. I got a couple cabins out in the Smokies, Tennessee. which are absolutely beautiful. Beachfront property, right? Out in Myrtle Beach, which is awesome. One of the things about short-term rentals I love, is outside of making the money, right? Because you can make a really, really, really lot of money with short-term rentals. You can use them. Like I'm a beach
Right.
guy. I love the beach, right? And what's crazy is, I was speaking to somebody, my son who plays football. I was speaking to one of the parents, talking small talk. He asked me what I'm doing this summer. And I looked at him, I said, I don't know, staying at one of the properties that I own. Maybe I might go out to the sea. Maybe I might go out to the beach. Hey, maybe I might just go to boat. Who knows? But it's great because you can just go on the calendar and you can just block out that time whenever you want to go, and it's yours, right? You don't have to come out your pocket for it. Actually, the money that you make in the short-term rentals, funds everything else. It also pays that mortgage. You can go. You can also bring your family along, bring some friends along. Like our cabins, I got two 5-bedroom cabins out in the Smoky Mountains of Tennessee. Like, this thing sits, one cabin sleeps 14 people. You know what I mean? So, my family is a family
Right.
of 3. So I'm bringing friends and family with me.
So you got to bring some friends.
Yeah, absolutely. So that and so we're doing a short-term rental that we're looking to a couple other markets.
How are you running all these different short-term rentals in the different places? How are you able to be in your one place? And you know what's funny? I honestly, and we did meet at an event and we became Facebook friends. I had no idea you had a job. The lifestyle you live does not scream I work a 9 to 5, because you're always on a plane somewhere.
Yeah.
So when you said that, I was like, oh, I didn't know he had a job. But what are the systems that you're able to put in place that allows you to be profiting from South Carolina, from Tennessee, from all these different places, and traveling around the country, or just staying at your hometown?
Yeah, great question. I get that question a lot, right? And the one thing that we do is we automate everything. So everything is ran off of automation. Now, there's one big key factor when it comes to short-term rentals, especially when they're out of town. Me, I live in New Jersey, right? And my short-term rentals are in Myrtle Beach, right, South Carolina, and in Smoky Mountains of Tennessee, right? So excuse me. So we automate everything. Now, the big thing that you have to do, I call it boots on the ground, which
Right.
is just getting cleaners, right? Like your
Right.
cleaners is going to be everything for you. They're going to be your eyes and ears, right? Because they're going to be in and out of your property. So they're going to be reporting to you if there are any damages or any tiles that need to be replaced or anything that needs to happen. They're going to be there. But outside of that, everything else is automated. You load your property up on Airbnb, VBRO. Why? Because they are getting all of the traffic, right?
Right.
So everybody goes there. And then second, what you do is you automate everything. I use this app called Guestly, right? Guesty, I'm sorry. And what happens is you have your VBRO, your Airbnb, they all integrate into this app, And so now what happens if someone book on Airbnb, it
It'll
blocks
block
the
it off.
calendar on
Okay.
VBRO.
Guestly. I
Vice
always
versa.
wondered that, like how are people listing on multiple platforms? Because I know for the short-term car rentals, Turo only wants you to be captive to them, as far as renting a car. So I'm like, well, I guess that makes sense, because what if you double booked yourself? How do you prevent that? But so there's an app, Guestly, that integrates both. So you get to basically. That's not it.
So
Okay.
when someone book, right? Guess we also allow you to automate messages. So you spend some upfront time to
Right.
automate all the messages you want and when you want them to go out and what's there. You also want to change your locks on the door to some Wi-Fi keyless locks, smart locks, right? Because then that integrates with Guestly as well, and it assigns a key code when someone's booked. And the cool thing about it is they're only able to use the key code during the times that they book. So if they are there from July the 1st to July the 7th, check-in time's at 4 o'clock July the 1st. If they get
Right.
there at 3:30 and try to punch in their little key, ain't going to work. They can work until after 4 o'clock on July
Okay.
the 1st. And then on July the 7th, the checkout's at 10 a.m. So after 10 a.m., that key code is not going to work for you
That's really
any
good because I
longer.
was gonna ask. I saw because I'll join groups just to kind of like the Facebook groups is where I always start if I'm interested in a business because I want to see what other people are experiencing before I put some money. And I'm seeing people talk about, they've got squatters in their Airbnb, they can't get them out. And I'm like, what would, like, that's pretty scary. I live in a city that has pretty strong squatters' rights, but you're saying once they leave that property, they can't get back in. All right. Okay.
Can't
That's
get back
good.
in.
That's good.
And also, like, everybody's situation is different because, well, how long did they rent to that tenant? Did they rent to them over 30 days? And if so, then that's where you got to understand your
Right.
laws, too, because if you rent it over 30 days, then they become a tenant and not a
Right.
guest anymore. And squatter rights kick in, right? So, like for me, I could call the police and the police will come and kick them out
I think, yeah.
because they're not a
I don't
tenant,
know all the details.
you
I'll
know?
just read the comments. Like I'm always in the comments, just like, what's going on
But
here?
before your listeners,
And I didn't have any
before your listeners
advice.
is
I
good
didn't know
to,
what to offer them. I just like to know, like, here's some issues in this industry. But now you're
Mhm.
saying that's not even an issue. Don't rent to someone
Yeah.
for 30 or more days because then they become a tenant.
I'm not saying
Oh,
that. I'm saying know your
okay.
laws,
All right.
right? Understand the township and city laws for where your Airbnb is, and then build your business around there to be successful.
That's great advice.
And what happens is people, Sabrina, people don't pick up a book and read. You know that, right? People don't go online and do a quick Google search, right? Therefore, people jump in the mix and they hear somebody else who did a 30-day stay and made, $20,000. That's all they
Right.
heard. $20,000, 30-day stay. But they don't know, like you just mentioned. See how thorough you were? I did not know all the terms and everything behind it because you're thorough. You're going to go ahead and do it. People don't do that. All they heard, $28,000, 30-day stay. I'm going to go ahead and follow that and not knowing that that person probably, had something else going on
Right.
that they knew that they were safe with that 30-day stay, whatever the situation is, or maybe an additional contract, or maybe check them out and check them back in. Like, who
Right.
knows? You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
It's a
Like,
whole
people
story.
don't
Don't
break
just
that down
listen to the numbers side. And always, I always try and vet every industry. Like just because one person's having amazing results, like you don't know that person. You don't know what their network is. They might know a bunch of millionaires and that's their base. So you just don't know. So I always like to hop in the groups and see what is actually going on with the common folks or the masses who are trying to do an industry and see what common issues and then try to come up with a solution. And you just gave us a great solution. There's an app that will kindly check people out and they will, once they leave, they cannot get back in.
And it's cool because so you got that, and like right now, like we're having somebody service the air condition. All I do is just go into the app on my phone, so I could be anywhere. I could be in
Right.
California. I could be in Florida. I just go on my phone. I enter in a code, and I give them certain times and when they can get in and get out. So now they can just get in and get out. Them too. So they get in. I can see when they checked in. I can see how long they were there, right? Because contractors, right?
Right.
They try to be there for 5 minutes and tell you they was there all day. You know what I mean? I know you wasn't. I see that you checked in and you checked out.
I saw a situation also where the contractor moved in with his whole family into an Airbnb and the person went down like, I'm not hearing anything. And the contractor had his whole family living there. It was all in the comments, but that's really interesting. I mean, that sounds like it would be great for any real estate property to be able to track. Does that integrate with the camera system? Are you able to see
And I was just about to mention that.
Okay.
So, I purchased a ring. I'm pretty sure other people probably purchased something different, but I like the ring. And I try my best to stay off of it because, privacy, whatever. But I got the ring. I put it in right in front of the door so I could see who's coming in. And it's really just to make sure that, people ain't having parties and
Right.
stuff like that. But that's it. But look, if, you say, hey, you have 7 guests that's going to be there and you wind up having 9, like,
That's not a
come
big
on.
deal.
I'm
But
not, yeah, not a
20
big deal.
show up,
But
or
if
if
you
you
got
see
35
furniture
people,
moving in and out.
right, those things, and also it helps with the contractors too, of knowing who came, who was there. You can always, go into the history of the app. So just to recap, you just want to make sure you have the smart Wi-Fi locks. You want to make sure that you get a camera, of course. You only put the camera, like in the front door. You don't want to put it nowhere else
Right.
due to privacy laws, right? And then you want to make sure that you have that app where everything integrates into, and that's it. You only work off that one app. You
Right.
don't work off of anything else. But let me tell you what the big kicker is, right? Because the big thing that you always want to do is maximize your dollars,
Right.
right? Optimize. And there's this app called Price Labs, and what that does is it basically prices your short-term rental,
Oh,
and so you integrate that and you set that up, and it actually move your prices up and down according to what's going
is it
on.
Price
So, for example,
Lab? LAB?
Price Labs.
Price.
So it's Price, uh, PRICE Labs, LABS
I hope
dot
y'all are taking
co.
notes because I am.
Yeah, and Price Labs is super awesome because it's like the big brother looking out for you, right?
Right.
It knows when certain events that happen, like if Beyonce's coming to town,
Right. It's gonna
right?
skyrocket.
And yeah, the price is going to go
Or
up.
like
Like
when
you
the
don't even
Pope
have to do
came
that.
to Philadelphia that week and people were like getting
Yeah,
$10,000 for that week. I'm like, oh
yep.
man.
And then it also knows a lot of other short-term rentals that's in the area.
Right.
So if they're all booked, right,
It'll
and
go
yours
up.
still available, it just up your price some because they
Wow.
know that yours is going to be, yeah, like without you even doing anything,
Those are
right?
some
So
great
it's like,
tips. Those are
yeah,
really, really, really good
yeah,
tips for maximizing what you're making and also automating. So you could be anywhere in the
yes,
world.
yes, anywhere.
I love that.
Anyway, and all you need is a phone. That's it. So if you have a smartphone,
Yeah,
then you're 99.9%
I think
good.
everyone at this
Let me just
point
tell
has a
you,
smartphone. There's, starving
I,
children abroad who have smartphones.
my mother's 83 and she has a smartphone.
Right. So that is really, really cool. So you have the long-term rentals that allowed you
Yeah.
to retire.
Hmm.
Now you have the short-term rentals that allow you to
Hmm.
vacation when you want, where you want, basically for
Hmm.
free. And you
Yep.
mentioned to me
Yep.
that you are pivoting into another lane. Do you want to touch base about
Yeah.
that? Because that sounded pretty
Yeah.
interesting,
So
also.
absolutely. So I entered to this group where we're looking to buy motels and hotels, right? Ugly hotels and motels. Obviously, fix them up and kind of a hybrid model of like a hotel slash STR. Depending on obviously the market and what you can do. So I just was out in Arkansas. Just walked a Arkansas. I thought there was zero out there, which, like my wife was asking me, what in the world's out Arkansas? I looked at her and said, this 85 unit
That's
hotel
so
we're going to look at.
funny.
And that's it. And it was rough, Sabrina. Oh, Lord, it was rough. A lot of work would need to be done. But so I'm not sure if we will move forward with that, but there's a lot of other deals that's on the table. But one of the things that I noticed,
Yeah. There's an ugly hotel I know of. It's
uh,
actually one of the oldest hotels in
okay,
America,
okay,
I believe. We'll have to talk about that offline because I drove past it the other day and I'm like, it's uglier
yeah,
than on the listing photos. So they took some
yeah.
interesting photos, but I love historical buildings. So that might it
Okay,
might be a little bit
fantastic. That's
smaller than
smart.
what you're looking at, but to me it looks pretty.
No, I mean, listen, that just was 85 units. I mean, I know another guy, they just bought a 14.
Oh, okay.
They call it keys, 14 keys. So it's about the deal. It's not really about, the keys. And obviously it's about the accumulation.
The size.
So once you get one, you're going to want another and another. So I'm taking 14s, I'm taking 85s, I'm taking 50s, and
Okay.
we're number. And the reason why is because, which all the big wigs are all focusing on the 85s and more, right? So it's leaving these other hotels out on the table, so there's more to pick from the choice.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting. And you're going to keep them as the hotels and do a hybrid of short-term rentals and hotels.
yeah. So that's like the goal going in. Then obviously,
Okay.
as you study the market, you do what's best and what's right to maximize the dollar, of course, right?
Absolutely.
And if the play is, hey, make all these puppies short term rentals, then so be it. But the play might just be, the place might just be dated, and the website might be trash, and there might be
Right.
zero automation, right? Therefore, the experience for the guest is weak, and if you can go in and obviously do a facelift on all of the rooms and put a little automation there, put some Wi-Fi there for for people, then that might just be the play and just keep it as a hotel model, but kind of bring it up to 2000 in now time, I should
That's
say.
really interesting. So you're basically kind of taking the experience of your long terms, the experience of your short terms, and now it's the next progression up. So I really like that because I feel like we're all doing a little bit of Instagram comparison. Like, oh,
Yeah.
this person just bought a hotel. Let me go buy a hotel. And it's like, well, you haven't that's an interesting first deal to take down. Not that it can't be done with the right team, but don't just watch what people are doing on Instagram and try to emulate. So you really
Yep.
built up
Yep.
on your history. So this started as a six-figure side
Yes,
hustle,
indeed. Oh,
and now you're
yeah.
about to buy hotels
Hallelujah.
and motels and Holiday Inns.
For sure, for sure. But yeah, man, it's exciting. It's been a very exciting journey. I wake up every day, obviously feeling inspired, ready to go. Now that everything is on my back, I don't have the W-2 job anymore. But it's pretty cool because, hey, look, my brother called me the other day. Said, "Can we do lunch?" And I was like, "Yeah." You know what I mean? Like, rather than if I was at the W-2, I'll put in like, oh, can you meet at 12 and I only got 45 minutes? You know what I mean? But you know what I'm saying. But now it's like, yeah, let's go. We went, we ate lunch, we walked for an hour just talking and stuff. So he
Yeah.
just flew out the country to Punta Cana or something. So he was just educating me back on his trip. And we had a couple other things we wanted to talk about. I actually was trying to get him to buy some real estate. So, and we just had some lunch and I spent like 2.5 hours with them, right? Because now, because when you become, like, we're all doing this to buy back our time. So let's make sure that we totally understand this. It's important to sit there and say,
Right.
this is what I'm going to do with my time, and then you do it, right? So
Right.
when you a W-2, you can say what you want, but at the end of the day, they're telling you what to do with your time. You know what I mean? And I mean, everybody goals are different.
Right.
Some people just want to be able to, like, I coach people, and some people tell me, I just want to be able to drive a fast car. I don't care about anything like that. And I say, all right, well, cool, buy this property, and that property pay for your car. You know what I mean? And if that will make you happy today, then so be it. Hopefully your goals will grow,
Right.
and you'll see things a little differently. But and that's the thing. But you just want to buy back your time, just like I did. Like, I was able to say, yes, I can meet you for lunch. Go out, have a fantastic lunch with. So it's been pretty cool so far.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for being a guest. I know if you're watching this, you got so many actionable tips and some apps that are not. I'm in a lot of the Airbnb short-term rental groups. I haven't heard of these apps before, so I hope you
Mhm.
got them. Lenny, thank you so much for being a guest. And if you are part of the Rainmakers Alliance, as always, make sure you check the Six Figure Side Hustles for these little tips and tricks that aren't available for everyone. They're those little extra jewels.
Sweet. Sabrina, can I give your listeners one thing, if you don't mind?
Absolutely,
All right,
absolutely.
one thing. All right, if you find me on Facebook, right, very active on Facebook, look up Lenny the Boss, right? And you DM me, right? And you sit here and you say, six figures hustle with my girl Sabrina, right? I will hook you up with a deal analyzer that I use to analyze my deals. All right, and this is
You know
only for
what?
this is a,
I
a 300 to
actually,
$297 value.
that is really great. I
277.
actually was jumping the gun. I almost forgot the Rainmakers round. I'm so sorry, y'all. I'm just so excited to get to these questions because I really learn a lot. I have a Rainmaker round that's for everyone. Oh my goodness. Um, so, so let me ask you a few questions for everyone, and then you can, drop your link to get so we could all get in contact with you. That is my bad. I don't know where my mind is. I'm like ready to go start looking for my vacation home. Okay, so question one.
Good question,
What
man. You
book
know
are
what?
you reading right
I
now?
decided to pick up some older books that I read already. Like The 5 Second Rule by Mel Robbins. Right? I really enjoy, her. I'm not sure if you're aware of Mel Robbins,
Okay.
but it's a good read, and basically is about counting down backwards, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, then go. So for people who are not motivated to get up in the morning, or people who are not just motivated to got through reading
Right.
Atomic Habits, and I'm sorry I can't remember the guy's name who read, but if you look up Atomic Habits, just read that. This is a really good one. And one of the book I like to tell people to get is
Oh,
it's by Michael Gerber. It's shoot, oh man, what this book is called? Hold on, I'm so sorry because this is a big one that I always tell individuals that this is something that everybody should get. Let me see. Give me 1 second. Let's go to my library here. It's called Michael Gerber. Man, I'm drawing a blank. You can see I have a ton of books here. So, wait a minute. The E Myth.
the E Myth.
That is going to change your life. So if you don't get anything else, get the E Myth.
Get the E Myth.
Okay, absolutely change your life.
Really?
E Myth. Listen,
Okay.
I
I'm a
don't care
little
how much it
ashamed
costs.
because I have that on my bookshelves, and I don't know. I always think it's about like email or I don't know what the
The
E
E
Myth
Myth.
is. But all right, that's going to be my next
Yes, by Michael
book.
Gerber. Absolutely changing.
Okay.
So there's some books there. I can obviously read off a few more if you want, but
No, I think
there's
those
some
three
I
are
recommend.
really good for people to get started. What book would you recommend for someone who wants to follow in the six-figure side hustle footsteps for either long-term, short-term rentals?
I don't think that those
Books.
specific books are for you. Need to sit here and get your habits down pat, right? Everything in life is just about being consistent. All right. Like I don't care, what you want to do. If it's real estate or if it's anything else that you want to do, get your habits. That's why I like to read books like The 5 Second Rule, right? Because that's going to sit here and get me up to go do something, right? To make an action. That's why I read Atomics. I have the ones I need to remove and the ones I need to make sure that I'm knocking out the park. So I would sit there and say, just start with them, because your passion for whatever your passion
Right.
is going to be that, and you're going to be attracted to hear the podcasts and the other books that's out there for it, even if it's real estate, right? But you have to have the right habits for anything to work. And if your habits are not right, and you don't have that, going to be days you're not going to want to do this. Going to be days where nothing's going to work. There's going to be days where the next day nothing's going to work. There's going to be days where the next day nothing's going to work. But your habits of being consistent is going to allow you to get your six figure side hustle on. So I would sit there and say that 5 second rule helps with you getting up
Perfect.
and making
What's your favorite quote?
Oh, girl, girl. I got a ton of them right here. Okay, so I'm sorry, I got to go off on you on this one. So one of the things that
All
I
right.
love is this quote here. I'm gonna read it. There are two primary choices in life. One, to accept the conditions as they exist, or two, accept the responsibility for changing them. That quote I read once a week. Okay. Here's another quote. Watch your thoughts, they become words. Watch your words, they become action. It becomes your destiny. So everything you do, start with a thought. So you have to make sure the first thing you do in the morning, I call it ingredients. Feed your mind with the right ingredients because whatever you think about, at the end of the day, is going to become your destiny. So you want to make sure that if there's any negativity from people to cartoons to news to anything, that's not what you want to feed your mind. First thing, you want to feed your mind with the right ingredients so you got the right thoughts so you can become the person that you meant to be. So, two great quotes there for you.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, those are really good quotes to live by and to really base your foundation of not just success, but also happiness.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What was your hardest lesson that you're the most grateful for?
Hardest lesson that I am the most grateful for. Hardest lesson I'm most grateful for. That's a good question. Sheesh. Hardest lesson I'm most grateful for. Actually, is this is it might not be a bad thing. It turned out to be a great thing. Is that God showed me some things before um, I've seen them, and I was able to be still enough to listen and then take action, which allowed me to buy real estate because it came to a point where I thought I was going to be with this company forever, right? And it came to a point where the company decided to lay me off, and I'm able to still pay my bills. I'm able to go out get my family some health insurance. We're taking another vacation a couple of weeks from today. Well, you know, my son's still able to go to swim. We just lined him up for another swim. He's about to play football. I'm about to go buy his equipment when he get home from school. So life, did not stop. Life is actually getting better. And I think that one of the things that I've learned, and I'm hoping that everybody learns, that your side hustle really can put you in position to not be stressed, because stress, will sit here and allow you not to be able to think about the things that you need to think about. It will not be able to, unless you listen to God and or whoever your God is, right? And steer you into the right direction. So, I think that would be it, just shooting from the hip.
Okay. Now, I know you kind of touched on this, but how can the audience get in contact with you? How can they get more information? Um, I'm sorry I had to cut you off, but it just reminded me, like, oh my goodness, I'm skipping one of the most important parts of this show. I love this part. I always love to know what successful people are reading and what lessons they've learned. So that that's what woke me up. So I'm glad that you jumped in and offered that. But what's your Facebook? How can they find you on
Yeah, not a
Facebook?
problem. So, I obviously I help people find cash flowing rental properties within their budget without spending a whole lot of time outside the day job. So, absolutely free. You can reach me or set up a call. We can talk about your goals, right? At lennytheboss.com /call, right? CALL, right? lennytheboss.com /call. So set up a time. Let's talk. Let's figure out, what you want to do, and we'll get you there. Also, I'm on Facebook. You can look up Lenny the Boss, right? On Facebook, or you can go to my IG. I'm not as active on IG as I am on Facebook, so
Me
probably
either. I'm
Facebook is the
trying to
best place for me.
transfer because everyone's like, only moms are on Facebook. I'm like, well, I'm a
I know,
mom.
I know, I know. Hey man, it is what it is. But you can go to, you can just look me up on Facebook, Lenny the Boss, right? Or go to my IG, which is Lenny the Boss channel at lennytheboss.com/YouTube, right? But what I was mentioning is just for Sabrina only, because I normally sell this is a deal analyzer. I'm pretty sure everybody know how important that is to have. If you don't have one, then I don't even know how you're doing real estate, right? But for your listeners only, right? I'm gonna give it away for free,
Right.
but you gotta let them work, right? They gotta do something. So you gotta find me on Facebook, Lenny the Boss, right? Send me Arena, right? And leave your email, and I'll make sure you get a copy.
That is a $300 value, y'all. And that's the price tag. That's not even the value. The value is buying the
Yeah.
deal right and not losing a lot of money because you're upside down and, just a lot could go right with real
Awesome.
estate and a lot could go wrong with real estate. So you want to make sure that you're buying right.
Mm-hmm.
So with that,
Absolutely.
now is the end of the episode. I'm sorry I tried to cheat y'all, and I tried to cheat myself because I'm gonna get those books. So I'm gonna put all the links in the show notes so that you guys could easily find these things. Again, if you're in the Rainmakers Alliance, you're gonna get those extra gems. Any
Hey
parting
man,
thoughts,
once again,
Lenny the
Sabrina,
Boss?
I'm grateful for being on your show. I'm thankful for being on the podcast. And if there's, I would love to be back. If I can, and if there's anything in addition that your listeners may ask me clarity on or anything like that, I'm more than willing to help out because I'm all about giving, 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 as you can see. And that's really it, man. I just pray that everybody, understand that you have to make sure that you got something else going on, especially if you have a W-2 job, because you just never know when you can get laid off, when the company can close, take the operations and move it across the world, or any of those things. You want to make sure for yourself and your family that you're able to still eat, be able to still pay your bills, and even if it's just to go out and jump in any job, you can kind of look and see what's out there
Love
and
it.
make
I
the
love
next
it.
move.
Thank you so much, and just stick around.
Awesome.